So I would never think of myself as a crybaby or take this term of princess on the pea. I mean, who was princess on the pea? She was a princess who was able to feel a pea lying on underneath like 11 mattresses. Like that is a superpower. I'll take that superpower any day. Thank you.
Okay guys, hi, I'm Gabby Zakara. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm joined today by the beautiful Jeena Joan. Jeena is an intuitive life coach. She's a singer, she's a dancer, a conscious artist basically, with a lot of wisdom and love to share. So Jeena, welcome. It's so nice to connect again.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. It's been a while that we saw each other.
Yeah, because I think we first met in Manchester. We were at an open night jam or something.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, and where are you actually based? Where do you actually live?
I live in Germany, in Cologne.
Okay, so why did you come over? Weren't you like performing in like some shows and stuff?
Yes, exactly. We came to Manchester with the gospel choir. We were led by Anne Taboon, coming from Cologne, and we met up with Wayne Ellington and his choir. He's from Manchester, and he has a beautiful workshop he hosts. I think they do it every year. So that year, I think it was 2018 that we were there, and yeah, the BBC came to sit in the audience and listen to our concert after the workshop. Yes,
That's amazing. Do you do like a lot of concerts like that? Because I know you do a lot of dancing. I've seen your videos online, and you actually like inspire me to just kind of get into your body and just like love yourself. The way that you dance and you move, you can just tell it's more than just movement. It's like energy, and it's like the embodiment of kind of knowing your worth and knowing your divinity. So like, are you still singing as well? Are you doing more of the dancing, or are you just doing both?
yeah. So I've always been singing and dancing. It's kind of what I was born into. My mom was very good with just really soothing that talent also. Like she put me in dance, she put me in choirs, and it was something that I kind of picked up again because I was kind of straying away from singing. And then I found this gospel singer Anna Taboon, and I was a part of her workshop. And from there on, I just joined the gospel choir, and I just started doing more and more. 2018 was a very big year for me concerning singing because I started like vocal lessons as well, and I had a few bands that I was singing with. But I also had like I would say a few like bad experiences with, I would say, the music business. So that made me kind of pull out from the professional side. So at the moment, I still sing, but it's more for myself. And, you know, occasionally I share it on my channel, which I just enjoy it. I sing for my students. I usually, when you meet me on the streets, I'm usually singing, and probably the neighbors are telling me, like, oh, keep on going, something like that. And the dancing, same thing. It was first of a love at first sight. I always danced. I started with Bharatanatyam, like a classical Indian dance, when I was 3 years old. And when I was 6, I started with ballroom and Latin dances, and I just kept going. I did it for like decades, and I added when I was 13, started training in hip hop. I had my own few crews. I used to dance for like a record label when I was 18, and I went to the US to work as an au pair. So I had like more training and different like styles, things that I haven't heard in Germany about. Like now everybody knows about it, like locking and popping. These styles were not that common in Germany yet. So I came back, and in 2018, I also started experimental performance art, which is for me the perfect blend of like singing and dancing and theater, actually, because I also I did theater for a few years. So yeah, experimental is kind of my way of finding the right like vessel to communicate my art, and I just love that. Yeah, and it definitely blends into my work, my spiritual work, my healing work. It's just something that I enjoy, and I think it, like you said, like it inspired you, because I talk so much about the body. It is definitely rooted in my dance path, and I can use that for the inner child work and the completion process, for example, that is just like so deeply connected with each other.
Mm-hmm. What is the completion process? Because I've seen on your Instagram, is it like an 8-week course going through the chakras and stuff? Would you explain a little bit about it?
Okay, so these are two different things. What you were just mentioning is my comeback.
Okay.
So is my 8-week coaching program. Yes. I have to go back a little bit in time, because you asked me before if I could maybe share like what set me off into this healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely say that my own traumas actually started me in going into this. I mean, it's my nature. I think you can agree with that, that there's something about your nature that kind of draws you into the spiritual world, into this realm. And it's basically the same thing for me. Like, even when I was a child, I was 5 years old, and I announced to my sister, like, I'm an alien. And she called me a witch. So we both knew that there was something like strange about me, something different about me. And I was always called like a princess on the pea, because I would just cry a lot because I was so sensitive. And it took me a while to kind of adjust into this world, because there was like a lot of violence around me, like verbal violence and physical violence. I was sexually abused as a child. So coming from that, I kind of developed like suicidal thoughts, like from a very early age. And it took me until like going into my teenage years that I got out of that. And it was almost just like a decision, like, no, I love life, I want to be here. So just taking the other way out is not an option anymore. I just decided that. And so having the background and these like toxic relationships in my early childhood kind of set me off into having that in my relationships as well. And so this one relationship kind of had a bad ending. And after it ended, I found out something really horrible. And that kind of was just like rock bottom for me. And um, so I went to therapy actually for 2 years. And I felt therapy is just like a really nice small talk. Um, and it didn't really help me. I'm a very self-reflecting person. um I have like a lot of like intuitive like guidance, and that intuitive guidance was the reason why I actually left that long-term relationship, because it just kept on telling me like something's wrong, leave him. And I didn't understand at the time why, but after we were broken up, after a year, I understood why, because I found out something that was happening was not so good. So that was kind of the initiating thing that set my kind of dark night of the soul, like really set me off. And I remember being at my rock bottom and just thinking, if I make it through this and I don't go back into my suicidal thoughts, and I don't stay like in this victim mentality, then I will create something that will help other women like celebrate their comeback. And that is kind of what gave this name to my coaching program, because in 2019 I went to India and I had my yoga teacher training in Arambur in Goa actually. And so I learned a lot about like chakras and how to activate them and balance them. And I thought like, this is amazing. This is like basically school of life, all this knowledge. And it should be something that everybody knows. And I thought I shouldn't just like make it accessible to people who are actually open to yoga, because yoga is not just the asanas that people know and like to do, but it's also like the philosophy. It's a lifestyle. So it's in your everyday life. Like yoga can be just like you sitting and breathing. And so I really want to share this knowledge with others, and that's how I created this 8-week coaching program, Comeback. Yes.
I love that name, and it suits so well. And so, like, I know that yoga actually means union, I think, and it's the same. The word religion also means union. So really, it's about kind of oneness and coming together with like self, with God, or whatever higher power you want to believe in and stuff. And so, yeah, that's so amazing. And what is it that the course actually entails then over the 8 weeks?
So as I said, it's called Comeback, and I mean we both are singers, so we have known all these beautiful singers that have had their comeback. So that is kind of also that what gave the name. And I want others to basically realign their chakras. So the course is 8 weeks long, and I have like spots for 10 women. So we are creating like a mastermind. So we sit together for 2 hours in Zoom, and I basically share like with each chakra. So we go through like first week is the first module, which is the root chakra. We are going into like physical stability and security, um, financial security, emotional security, mental security, and what we need to have like our roots like deeply grounded also, that we feel safe, because safety is something, especially with women, it's something that we walk around every day. And um, most women are not like comfortable like walking the streets like in the dark, for example. I feel very comfortable with that, just because I know that I'm held by the universe. I know that, you know, my angels are kind of looking over me, and that is kind of what the root chakra is like all about for me, to be like really grounded and connected to Mother Earth and feeling safe in all these forms. So then the second module would be second week, we go into the sacral chakra, which is probably the loveliest for all the artists out there. Some people think that they are not that creative, and I kind of teach them also like how to find their creativity. And sometimes it's just like um us not knowing where we are being actually creative. Like, let's say the way we style ourselves is a form of creativity. The way our home is like set up is a form of creativity. The way we walk, we move through the world is a form of creativity. So this is all like different expressions all of that. And so that is something that we all have. We just have to kind of tickle it out, and also be able to observe that and appreciate it and celebrate it. So week 3 would then be like the solar plexus. This one is like very important to me because it's all about like willpower and discipline. And discipline for me, for example, was usually a term that I hated, because I studied German and English to become a teacher, and everybody just kept telling me like, oh yeah, you have to do it. You just, you know, pull everything, pull yourself together, and you have to just go through it, like close your eyes and do it. And I just felt like, if everything in my body screams no, I'm not going to make myself. And that doesn't feel like discipline for me. And so I built like a new form or a new definition of discipline for myself, which is kind of rooted in self-love.
Mm.
And that was just like, yes, now I get it. Now I know why I want to keep on doing something like every day, because it's important to me, because I love myself and I wanted to show myself that I'm ready to work. So yeah, that is the solar plexus. And then we got the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is all about like heart connections, relationships, love. Um, and it's also where most people have like a blockage, um, and they kind of turn from love to fear. I always say like you either have love or you have fear, but you cannot have like both at the same time. So I kind of help out differentiating one from the other. It's also a lot of like um, talking through like what is ego and what is actually heart based, which kind of leads us to like first go to the throat chakra. So that is all about communication, of course. Um, some people are very shy, which is also like shows us like a blockage in our throat chakra, and others could be like me, like over talking, like that is like an overactive throat chakra maybe. So that has to be balanced as well. And singing, of course, is something that is like very important to heal the throat chakra also, or humming.
Mm.
And of course um, all the mantras that we have in yoga are so yeah, healing also for that. And then my favorite one is the third eye, which is all about intuition. And as I said before, like many people think that they don't have any intuition, but I keep on telling people that it is it is almost like a muscle that you can actually strengthen. We all have those extrasensory abilities. Um, I was just asked yesterday, so what is clairaudience or clairvoyance? And we have all our senses, but there are some who have um, almost like a more like fine-tuned sensory activity. I mean, you as a singer, you probably have the ability to also hear things that others are not able to hear, and you create your music from that, right?
Mm.
So that is also so connected to your intuition. And then we have the crown chakra, which connects us to everything else that is not just the body, just the human part, but actually the spiritual side. So we have this kind of animal um, state that we were at, and those are the three first chakras, like the root, sacral, and the solar plexus. And the heart is actually where our humanness starts, with the throat chakra and third eye. And our crown is basically then the connection to spirit and to source and the universe. And in week 8 we basically just like go over everything. If there's like any questions left, because the first hours is usually that I share those content, and then the second part of the 2 hour Zoom call is usually that they can apply it to their own lives, and we look at certain things and where there's like a disbalance happening. And yeah, I give
Mm.
out like many tools. Like it could be an asana, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that, because it's usually very simple, easily practiced, and applicable like tools that I give out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Something that I like to do when I'm doing like my own kind of, well, every day I feel like I'm always trying to like assess myself, and I feel like every day is almost like a school day. Like I'm always working to just see where I can grow. And I will have times where I have like a bit of a relax and I'm not too hard on myself, because you have to have those times. But I also like journaling, and you know, through that 8-week process, something that I've noticed recently is like when I write down just even the smallest bit of experiences, even just what I've been doing that day, when I come to like look back a few weeks like time, I can really just see like how much has changed already, and it helps so much with keeping on going and with feeling okay with where you are. Because
Yeah.
I've struggled in my own journey in the past with just like being okay in the now. Like I've always seen this kind of golden child person who I've always wanted to become. And then what happens is, because you see that as what you need to be, what you are then isn't good enough, or it's not what you want to be. And for so long I've always struggled with that. But with the journaling, I've been able to actually go, well, do you know what though, you're not the same person you were 3 weeks ago. So just because you're making that process, it's just like helps you along the way. Do you ever like practice vocal toning as well, like chakra toning and stuff?
Yeah, occasionally I do. But the thing I wanted to share with, because you just said like you wanted to be this golden child, that you're kind of striving for, and I can tell you like you are the golden child, because this is exactly what actually drew me to you. I mean, I saw you in this bar, and I saw this sweet glowing spirit come in, and I just thought like, who is this angel that who just came in? And then I heard you sing, and I just fell in love instantly. And that's why I came to you and we started talking, and I'm so glad that that I did.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that we're still connected. And it's just so funny how um, there are so many parallels also um, with us. So back to your question of the toning of the voice. Um, Either I do the mantras, but sometimes I just like the very simple and basic om also.
Mhm.
And for me, sometimes it's just like humming. And I guess like sometimes when I sing, then there is this tone that just feels like extra special, yummy, juicy, something that just feels like a warm meal, like soul food in my belly.
Yeah.
And I just stick with that note then sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you know what's interesting with you saying the soul food thing is, I've been learning a lot about something called syncretism, and it's basically just how everything is all just the one. So even like the main religions, like say the 7 main religions, they're all just the one truth told in 7 different ways, in the same way that we've got the one white light and it splits off into 7 colors of the rainbow, or the 7 days of the week and 7 chakras and everything else. So this is also the 7 notes in like a scale, and obviously it can then split up into the 12 notes in between, like an octave. But when these different notes can like kind of harmonize in your body in different ways, and you can actually use music to heal your body, and you'll know this anyway, but there's different like notes for different chakras. So say if one note particularly felt really yummy to you at the time, it was like soul food, well, it might have actually been giving you this frequency that your body was lacking in. If your solar plexus like was undernourished, it needed more energy or whatever it is, you could play the note that's the equivalent of the solar plexus and listen to that music or sing that note, and then you'll actually kind of feed yourself on a energetic level, which is really cool. Because it all starts on the energetic realm first, doesn't it, and then manifests into the physical.
Yes, I love that you said that, because before we started a Zoom call, I was actually meditating with my frequency playlist. I can actually send it to you. And so I use these, either the like chakra activation playlist or a frequency playlist, to meditate, because I usually don't. Sometimes I like to sit in silence or even have like a guided meditation. But the ones who are really connecting me with myself, and not having any outside input, or as much, then for me those frequencies are the best. And talking of frequencies, I also do like tarot readings, which are also called tune in frequency. So the tuning in frequency came from me channeling in May 2020 for the very first time. I was just like intuitively guided, and it was almost like the spirit took over and just handed me my sound bowl, which I have here. And so I picked up the frequencies, and it was so funny because I was ringing the sound bowl and just I hold it. I held it on my chakras, and I picked up different information, and it was like, okay, wait a minute. Is that normal that I get like information through the sound bowl? And I started like reading my own body, reading my own chakras, and my tarot cards are actually frequency card deck. So it has like different frequencies. This one is actually called Soul Family, which I love.
I love that
Um,
55 as well, the double numbers.
Actually, five is also my life path number, and I'm like in human design. I'm a 5/1. There's like so many correlations with the number five, so it's funny that I actually just randomly picked up the deck. But these are made and painted by Teal Swan, who is like a major influence in my life. I've been following her for probably since 2014 or something, 14, 15, something around that. And the completion process, which you asked about before, is also related to her. So it's her tool, which is basically parts work, inner child work. And it's almost like set up as a guided meditation, like with 18 different steps. I kind of made it my own, and yeah, this is also something that I just love doing because the effect that it has on people. I was talking about blockages before. So the 8-week coaching program is really nice, and it kind of gives you like a foundation. But when there's like a deep rooted blockage that is kind of hard to explain, maybe it's not even on the conscious level, but it's kind of stuck in your body somewhere, and it's on the unconscious, but it's still like is kind of having an influence in your life. Then the completion process is actually like a very beautiful way of going into that. And it's like you were saying, talking about the fragments, like when we have, for example, that one truth,
Mm-hmm.
and that it splits off into these like different colors or different religions. So that kind of happens with us. We're whole when we're born, but all these different experience that we have, and it could be traumatic experience, it doesn't have to be, um, that kind of splits us into different like fragments of ourselves. And what the completion process does is kind of reuniting those parts with yourself, because we have some certain things that we don't want to be or don't want to have or don't want to feel, and we push it away, and so that we separate it from ourselves. So the completion process is basically the reintegration of that split parts of you.
Yeah, no, defo, because like one of the biggest things as well is like kind of just like being aware of like what is blocking you and stuff. And sometimes the cards, the tarot, like some people don't like to rely on the cards and stuff, because I know a lot of people think that it blocks you from like listening to your own intuition. But I think that they're just tools that God or the higher powers have given us to help us. And sometimes if you are stressed, if you're mentally blocked, you can't access your intuition very well. So having the tarot deck for me and having like the oracle cards and stuff just really helps with kind of a bit of guidance. And my favorite is when you pull out a card and it just says have a rest, and you're like, you know what? I'd love an excuse to have a lazy day today. So thanks, guys, for giving us this card. But one of the things in terms of like unblocking that I've found, it really helps like unblocking your just like your channels. Not only your chakras, your sephira, everything is basically like grounding and connecting to the earth and movement, doing physical things in the body. And we've been every day going out for walks, and we actually have like wooden staffs, you know, like the old sages and like ancient masters, they all had staffs, like Moses, Jesus, like you always see like kung fu warriors with staffs. And
Sure.
when they're made of like wood, or they've got nothing blocking the ground, because you can get some with like a rubber end but it doesn't connect the electricity, but when they're like fully just made of wood, or even like a copper one or something, you could walk around, and it just grounds you in the same way as grounding does, without having to take your shoes off. And literally, if you put it in water or anything, it just completely cleanses you out. And 5 minutes of walking with a staff, suddenly you're just so much more open to receiving everything again. It's amazing. So that's something that we do. But do you have any like kind of daily practices that you kind of live by, or do you think you'd rather just go with the flow and see what comes and when?
Definitely the second.
Yeah.
I love that people have their routines, and I have such a vast amount of different tools. Um, I would like, I love all colors of the rainbow. I love all parts of myself, and I love that on several certain days, like I rather do something than the other, and so it's like intuitively that I kind of do it because this, like, I mean, everyone is different, but I'm not a routine person. If I start having a routine, I kind of get bored so easily. If ADD is a thing, I do have ADD, not ADHD, because I don't really have that hyperactive part, but so I can connect everything in my mind, and it also needs to be nourished and interested and engaged, and that is where my passion also comes from. So to, I don't know, be my full self and happy self, I need that um, yeah, switch of tools and change. I like change, and so I
Yeah.
rather go with the flow. Yeah.
Do
But
you
there are certain things that come again and again. For example, if I haven't grounded for a long time, like walking bare feet or dancing bare feet or meditating, that is something I just immediately know. So if I would say like the one tool that I come back the most is definitely meditation.
mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've had a slow journey of gradually just accepting and integrating yourself, or do you feel like there's just this one moment where you're like, okay, wow, I'm so happy with myself, I love myself now? Like where did you kind of cross the line from being, as everyone kind of grows up to be, unsure of themselves and not confident and stuff, into just having such self-love?
Yeah, definitely a gradual thing. It's not a from one day to another. I mean, awesome for others who do have that experience. But I feel like every day there's just like one part that is just connecting to the one that was before. And as you said, like every day you become a new person. Like even when you go into yoga and you're in your shavasana means literal death. So you die, the old you dies, and you wake up reborn. And that is something that yeah, I cherish. And so I would say that a lot of like interest and talents and connections have been there from the beginning, but throughout the journey it made more and more sense to me. So for example, the part of my family calling me princess on the pea, which I hated at the time. And I just felt like a crybaby. Today, I cherish that because it tells me I'm actually a hypersensitive person and I'm a very empathetic person. And so I pick up people's emotions and I'm sensitive to that. And now I can help others with that gift. So I would never think of myself as a crybaby or take this term of princess on the pea. I mean, who was princess on the pea? She was a princess who was able to feel a pea lying on underneath like 11 mattresses. Like that is a superpower. I'll take that superpower any day. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, no, like I think as well, like every day is like a new day, and like you say, just one step at a time. It's just interesting how our relationships as well. Something that I try and tell people is everything in life is geared not against you, but for you to grow. And like every situation, everything that someone says to you, even if like it hurts or whatever it is, rather than just like being, oh, they've hurt me or whatever, it's just important to go, why does it hurt? And assessing and flipping and just looking at yourself and going, why has the universe shown this situation to me? Like you say, I'm upset. Why am I upset? Because I'm just sensitive and I like care, or I'm empathetic or whatever it is. And it's just a really nice tool, I think, like relationships and life, to basically look at life and understand why things are happening, always for our growth, but to just try and find the growth in it. And then every day you just end up being more and more like okay with everything just as it
Yes.
is. Like you say, everything is perfect, everything is the golden child just as it is. It's just kind of getting back to that and the remembrance of it, really.
Yeah, as you said before, like all this that there's one truth in all these religions, for example, like splitting out. It reminded me immediately of the book like Nathan the Wise. It's from Lessing, a German author, and it's basically a story about a man who is, I believe he is uh, mm, a Christian, but it's definitely like all these characters are like a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, and um, the moral of the story is basically it's all grounded and the one source is connected, that is love. And that is actually what I took away, like as a 16-year-old girl in my German class. It's like, oh no, it makes sense. Like all religions, whatever they're trying to, you know, share and is basically just love. But I mean, you can communicate love, and it's again like fear or love. And you either want to unite with people or you want to separate, you know. And so you can, you know, go and do your own thing, be your individual thing, but if you feel separated from others, that is not our truth. We want to be united. We are a union, and it's a lie. It's a lie that we believe. So if the Protestants are, you know, like thinking that they're better than Christians or the other way around or any other religion, it's basically, but don't you see that you are brothers and sisters basically coming from the same root? You just, you know, you defined it, but definition doesn't have to be um, the separateness, because if you go back all the way, you just have to come back to source. And the source is love, the source is light. As you said also, like with those colors, like if you put all those colors together, you just have white light. So there is no separation. And the other thing, you were also talking about the word yoga, yoga meaning union. There's another word that it kind of contains as well, and it's the yolk from the egg. So it all all life kind of starts from there. So it's also the almost like the seed, that we grow into.
Mm-hmm.
So all is there.
How, just like as a last thing then, is how do you think that like in today, like with everything that's going on today, like how would you guide someone to be able to sit in that love space rather than fear? Because not only like is the media like portraying a load of like fear-based stuff, they have been for time, but it's like there's actual frequencies as well, like radiating fear frequencies to us. So even if you don't watch the TV, if you're even just connected to the collective consciousness, you can feel the fear. Like, and how is it, would you say, that you can just keep going back to that love space?
Yeah. So the most important thing is that if you are part of the whole and the whole is part of you, that means you have a great influence. So it's not about what fears are waiting for you outside of yourself, but which fears are actually inside of yourself. And if you are able to do it, whether you're doing it with some assistant or just a friend who holds space for you, and you let yourself go into that fear, like just sit there and let those emotions come up and trust them also and let yourself be guided by them, then you can bring more peace into yourself. And if you are more in love, more in peace, more connected, then that automatically means that on the macro spectrum, that the world has more of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there are different frequencies, but the thing is, all those frequencies, like in a radio, like all this, the radio is just like the thing that kind of can tune into something, but you have a choice. You can switch from channel to channel. So just being aware of that and noticing when you are on that like fear frequency, check with yourself, like, is it actually coming from me or from the outside? If it's just from the outside, just come back to yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that you want? And make the decision and consciously go into the frequency that you actually want. And it could be just very simple, just sitting there and just saying, love, love, love. Because the words, I think you posted today about the vibrations of a word also and what it actually contains, like
Mm-hmm.
hello, for example, like hell and low. And if we speak out those words, that they have, like, they carry a certain frequency, and if we become aware of it, we can use it for our good.
Mm-hmm.
So really connect to those words, those affirmations that kind of soothe ourselves and nourish us and um, make us become basically the magnet that wants to attract all those beautiful things instead of, focusing. Because I mean, I think everybody heard it by now. Like, where your focus goes, where your attention goes, your focus goes also, right? And you have the power. It's your emotions are a compass to you. And for example, I work with students as well, like, and I just told this seventh grader, because she has ADD as well, and she will just go around with her focus and be everywhere for everyone, but she's not able to do her things. And I just tell her, just make sure that you keep your eyes on what you're doing. Because if you visually focus on something, this is actually also where your intention will go, where your thoughts will go. You cannot like look at something and be anywhere else. That's why, for example, one tool is awesome to practice just for the focus. For example, practice staring like at a flame,
Mm-hmm.
into a light, into a candle. And um, that will kind of help you to practice that self-control, because we are not, we think we're not in control, but we are in control. And just to remember that and practice that. And like everything, it's just a muscle. Just be patient and yeah, you will become better and better and better. And even if you fail, that is the part of your success also, because it's a growth, it's a process. You cannot force it, or yeah, but you can practice. And yeah, practice makes perfect. And even if we're imperfect, it's good, because we're, we are exactly who we are and how we are supposed to be, with all those colors that we kind of, that make us us, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jeena, it's been so nice to have you on and to properly chat and stuff. And thanks so much for sharing so much like wisdom and knowledge. Like you've been so amazing. So I really appreciate you spending the time.
Thank you so much, Gabby. I just adore you, and I'm just really, really happy that we are able to connect in this way again. And
Yeah.
this is perfect timing, because my mobile just says like data used, but it's not true.
Right. Well, I'm sending you so much love. And if anyone wants to check out your work or wants like to join the classes you do and things like that, where can they find your stuff?
Yes, so you find me anywhere and everywhere with the name Jeena Joan. So it's Jeena Joan. And you find me there on Instagram and Facebook, and also on YouTube. And I do have Facebook pages as well, and Facebook group, which is Tune in Frequency Tarot reading. So yeah, that is something that you can also check out.
Awesome. I'll
Yeah.
put your links in the description as well so that anyone can just find them easily. But yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, have a beautiful Sunday and I'll catch you soon.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.